Oh, what's the deal, people? What's the deal? What's the deal? What's the deal? What's popping out here, man? It's your boy, Mr. M.A. Double. If you don't know the play, bitch, it's because you ain't in the huddle. Yo. I'm gonna get right to it, man. Shout out to this quarantine. Got me looking a mess. You know, never mind that. We'll get it back popping here pretty soon. You know what I'm saying? Bro, you know what I'm tripping on? I'm tripping on the fact that everybody is, you know, going back and forth over this Lil Boosie and, you know, what he got going on with his kids, how he raising his kids or whatever. They, you know, everybody want to go back and forth and say that now at this point, Lil Boosie is a pedophile and raising his kids wrong, and you know, so if you don't know, you know, pretty much he went on live just telling people that he pretty much had somebody come and give his son and nephews or whatever the case, gave him oral sex. Not only gave the youngsters oral sex, probably gave him the oral sex too. Now I'm a real nigga though. I'm a real nigga. I was raised, you know, pretty fast as well. You know, I grew up on a block called Tremont. And, you know, before I get into all of that, I just want to say it's really nobody's, you know, business on how he raises kids. Ain't nobody's business on how Boosie raises kids, you know. And so, you know, the other part that really got me was that now they're comparing to what Boosie is doing with his kids to what Dwayne Wade is doing with his son. And when we start getting into conversations like that, then you can see where some people may have a point and some people may just need to mind their business. When it comes down to it, you know, I don't agree with what D Wade is doing with his son. I don't agree with that at all. You know, painting his nails and, you know, pretty much at the same age that Boosie is introducing his kids to heterosexual activities, D Wade is introducing his son to more of a, you know, a homosexual agenda, you know, just for a lack of better words. And so me personally, like I said, I don't agree with what D Wade is doing. I don't agree with that at all. So it's like, you know, people was quiet about what D Wade was doing too. What D Wade is doing. Him and Gabrielle Union. People don't have much to say about that. They're not as vocal. But, you know, the latest thing that I heard is motherfuckers called CPS on Lil Boosie. CPS, that's Child Protective Services. You know what I'm saying? Like who are these people to call Child Protective Services and try to interfere with how this man is raising his kids? I'm pretty sure his kids love him. I'm pretty sure his kids wake up to, you know, a really good life. A life that most of us don't have. And so I'm trying to figure out, how is it somebody's business to call Child Protective Services? Them kids got mamas. Them kids got aunties and uncles and, you know, and obviously a daddy. So it's just like, I'm kind of surprised to see how far people are taking this. I'm really surprised. Like, come on, man. At the end of the day, you know, at 10, 11 years old, that's when you start going through puberty. That's when that happens. So why are we telling Boosie what he needs to be doing with his sons when he's teaching them about the birds and the bees? Do I agree with what Boosie is doing? it's not for me to judge. You know what I'm saying? When it comes down to it, it's really not for me to judge what he's doing. So, you know, to be honest, I had situations like that myself when I was about 12 years old. You know, just to be honest. And that's something that I really don't share with women that I've dated, or women that have come into my life. I really don't tell them about the situations that I've had when I was around that same age. And I didn't have a big dog to facilitate that for me. I just had the money to do whatever I wanted to do with it. you know. And so at that age, when you're going through puberty, it's just different things that you might have on your mind. And if you got the money and the environment facilitates that, then you never know what happens. So it's just not something that I get into personally, because I know that my respect for women changed. My respect for women changed once I had came across a situation like that with an adult chick as young as I was. So, when I look at the situation and thinking about where my mind should have been at 12 and what my focus should have been on at 12, that situation that happened and situations that happened around that time is what led me to not have, the right respect for women. I've always had respect for women, treat them nice, just care about them, pay attention to them, different things like that, try to make them smile. But when I say respect for a woman, I'm just saying as far as maybe her feelings, and the fact that, anytime there was a situation, I knew that I could use money, not even necessarily money I got out of that mentality, but I could just use whatever circumstances to, meet a new woman. I knew at that point, me being obligated to a woman and getting married and, all of those things were sort of out of the window. When I'm coming across the situation similar to what Boosie's son went through at the age of 12. And so I'm not going to get all into it, because maybe I'll save that for another video. I don't know. At this point, I'm still in a position where I'm going to speak on the things that I see and how I feel about it. And, if people rock with me or agree with me, they gon' check me out. They gonna watch the videos and go from there. But this is ultimately leading to a goal of me publishing my message and putting out some things that I want to put out. As far as how black men feel about things. We don't all feel the same way. We all have different perspectives. So if you're not man enough to put out your perspective, then that's for you to deal with. A lot of men talk. A lot of men talk, but they don't have a voice. And that's something that I always reiterate. A lot of men talk, but they don't have a voice. So when it comes to a situation like this, what's the message? The message is raise your kids how you want to raise your kids. If you putting your kids in a position where what you're doing you think is for their benefit, who is anybody else to judge that or tell you right from wrong? There are circumstances where it's wrong. If you molesting the children and you neglecting them, you starving them, you abusing them, all different things like that, definitely, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's where the authorities would need to get involved. But, if this person decides to teach his son about heterosexual behaviors, and this guy chooses to let his son self-identify and lean more towards a homosexual behavior, in a more, let's not say homosexual, let's say more feminine behavior, then that's for them to decide. And as a parent, you know how your kids have been raised based on how you was raised, you're gonna change some things along that timeline. But for Boosie to uh, say what he said about D Wade, not only say it, stand on it, and face any criticism that come along with it, I salute him for that. I salute him for that. You gotta have your voice, and that's the difference. What I'm talking about. A lot of men talk, but Boosie has a voice. He's not just talking. So you can't just go back on your word. Niggas that do a lot of talking, you can go back on your word. But when you got a voice, what you say, you hold word is bond. So yeah, he didn't apologize. And if I was Boosie, I wouldn't apologize either, because nobody is in control of what he's doing in his household and how he's raising his kids. You know, that's just what it is. And to hear that they call Child Protective Services on Boosie, who are you to reach out to Child Protective Services and send them a footage of Boosie's live? It's just doing too much. It's just doing too much. Like, why are we so quick to tear our people down instead of reaching out to Boosie and say we don't agree with that, or whoever felt they didn't agree with that? Why didn't you reach out to him personally and let that man raise his kids? Why would you get the authorities involved? Why would you get the authorities involved, Child Protective Services, and try to get this man kids taken away over some things that he's teaching them about the birds and the bees, about puberty and maturing and sex, and what are you trying to get the authorities involved for? That's not your place to do that. So I'm not gonna say I agree with Boosie, because I know that years later the effects of what took place when I was 12 still exist. My mentality changed. It's completely changed. Trying to reverse some of the stigmas that was created by myself based on those situations. So I'm not going to say I agree with what Boosie did, or had set up for his sons and nephews. But I'm not going to say that, and I'm wholeheartedly going to say I disagree with what D Wade is doing. But at the end of the day, those are not my kids. Those are not my kids. Quit letting social media, dictate what you doing in your household. Why are you so offended? Who cares? That's on them. I never worry about what's happening with another man's private parts. That ain't never been my MO. So why would I care what's happening with Boosie and his sons and all that, what they doing sexually? That's not my business. What D Wade's son chooses to do, get his toenails painted and identify as a female, that ain't my son. I ain't raising my kids like that, so I don't care. But what I will say is that if you gonna fucking tear Boosie down, y'all need to tear D Wade down just the same. Why y'all ain't called Child Protective Services on him? That's child abuse. You're letting this child make adult decisions just the same as Boosie. So, it comes down to mind your business, raise your kids how you want to raise your kids. And if you're going to tear one of our black figures down, black celebrities down, you're going to have to do it across the board. Don't come after Boosie, but you ain't got nothing to say about D Wade. Call Child Protective Services and let them investigate D Wade's situation too. You see what I'm saying? But, that's just my take on it. It's your boy Matt, man. Mr. MA Double. If you don't know the plate, it's because you ain't in the huddle. Yeah.